What's up, you guys? Here to do a Brian Ortega Korean zombie breakdown, prediction, all that good stuff. So let's get straight into it. We all know Ortega. He's known T City, Triangle City. He's known for the being a black belt Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and he's a submission step specialist with a bad guillotine. Like it's nasty. Like he can get it in deep. He's got a decent kickboxing game, man. He's not a slouch on the feet. He's really good on the feet as well. Max Holloway, of course, didn't make him look great on the feet, but he's pretty good on the feet. He trains over Henry Gracie at the Gracie Jiu Jitsu. They have like several, what do you call those satellite uh, gyms, but he's, Henry's one of the best from what I hear and what have watched on YouTube and heard other outlets. Ortega basically fights orthodox. He has that lead leg out really far compared to most fighters, so he is susceptible to that front kick. I notice in a lot of fights, people will tear that front leg up. So he needs to maybe bring that in a little bit, I guess, in future fights, or just continue standing orthodox like that. But he seems to get better as fights goes on. He definitely was like a third round finisher. I noticed from his like when he was doing his like rise, his up and coming. He was like he would come on, man. Once that third round came on, he was peppering you with volume, and then he'll finish you with some kind of submission choke, darts choke, or rear naked choke. Um, like I said before, the only fight he seemed to be outclassed was Holloway. Of course, he was undefeated until that. But I think Holloway just basically showed him that top UFC level people have just some of the best striking and some of the best, takedown defense in the game. Um, but Holloway just showed that his striking is on another level. And Holloway clearly, like I said, is one of the best boxers in the division. And I honestly think Holloway won his last 2 or 3 fights against Volkanovski. He should really honestly still be the champion because he makes a lot of those shorter guys in the division he makes them look human because he utilizes his reach and his length and his speed and his boxing prowess to the max. So I think in my mind he's still the champ, but until he gets knocked out or something, and I see it visually that he's no longer the champ, then Holloway's still the best to me in this division. But that's for another video. So in one of Ortega's most impressive wins, he jumped guard against Cub Swanson and basically sunk in that impressive guillotine choke, and it was one of the best I've ever seen. And he jumped guard twice on him. And most people, you notice in MMA, they don't jump guard because if you think about it, if you jump guard on somebody, you got their neck, especially like if it's a street fight or something. If you're jumping guard on somebody's neck, and if you don't get that choke in good enough, somebody can slam you on your head. Somebody could get you down to the ground and pound you. So for somebody like him to be confident enough to jump guard like that in a lot of fights, and you're confident in your guillotine game, then that's how you know you're a black belt. Because if you're like whatever, you embrace the risk, then you definitely have you got a good submission game if you're jumping guard, man. You don't usually see that. Um, the next thing I want to talk about is one of his other wins. He's good at fighting in dirty boxing range, and I want to talk about this fight was him against Frankie Edgar. He basically he planted a lot of short right hooks on Frankie on his chin, man, and he was hitting him right back with big leg kicks. So in one sequence, like I said, he landed that big right hook, then planted a head kick on him, and basically stumbled Frankie. And Frankie didn't know where the heck he was at, and he was just like almost. And then from there, it was almost it was crazy. He kind of just like walked him down. He wasn't in any kind of fighting stance. He wasn't an orthodox. He wasn't a southpaw. He literally walked him down flat-footed, just walked towards him, and then he finished the combination with another short right power hook, and basically just overwhelmed Frankie with this pressure. And I had never really seen that in a 145 division fight. But later on in the fight, he basically ends the night by cutting guard of Frankie's guard by hitting like a devastating uppercut and just literally sends him flying off his feet. Literally, you got to go watch it on YouTube. Do that. Look up Brian Ortega versus Frankie Edgar uppercut knockout. It's impressive. It reminded me of the Alistair Overeem knockout, or no, Francis Ngannou knockout of Alistair Overeem, where he hits him so hard with that right uppercut that he is literally fly off their feet. It's impressive. It's crazy. It's scary. It's like wow, like that's impressive. So Like I said, the next point is some people say he's a submission artist. He's honestly one of the best at kickboxing as well. He's really good at not telegraphing his punches in the clinch. He's really good at like landing little short, quick elbows um, that people don't see coming. He's also good at split, like I said, good at splitting people's guards with. He has sneaky knees up the middle to the body to the head. He's also a good grappler. Like I said, he'll set up his grappling, like he'll set up his jab to feint and some. Well, he has a good jab for one. But he'll feint his jab to set up grappling. So he'll feint a jab, then come in for a takedown like a double leg or a single leg. And then once he gets you on the mat, that's when he's trying to sink in his rear naked chokes or his guillotines or things like that. So like I said, his grappling sets up his submissions, and his feints set up his takedowns. So like I said, on the next thing, the only negatives I have against O'Brien is in his Holloway fight, man, he wasn't really weaving or slipping punches well. His head movement basically was not on par like Max's is, because Max was getting in and out, head movement, slipping, jab, slipping, moving, weaving, getting down, getting up, and getting out the way. Because that's the mo in boxing is sticking and moving, and he was not moving. He was sticking, but he wasn't moving. So that's why I said he just needs to work on better. And this is the other thing. He can't do that against Korean Zombie. If you're not slipping and moving punches against him, man, it's going to be a short night because he comes with more power than Holloway, I think. So, and I also noticed he in his boxing stance and his guard, he keeps his hands pretty low and they're pretty wide. So that basically leaves openings for his opponents to basically land hooks, jabs to the chin, or uppercuts or whatever. So he just needs to keep his hands higher. From what I've noticed in a couple of fights that I just watched before I did this video, to just continue to walk people down and just keep his hands up, and that's pretty much it on that. On his negatives. What I also noticed in the Max fight was he stays in people's range too long. Um, like I said, he needs to get out of their range. He needs to circle their power hands. If it's the left, it's their right. If he's circling their right hand, he needs to go left. If he's circling their left hand, he needs to go right. So he just needs to work on things like that. I mean, and hey, I'm no coach. Just take my observation with a grain of salt. This is just from what I'm saying as a fan. But like I said, he should focus on getting in and out, sticking and moving against Zombie. Stay out of Zombie's range because Zombie is the longer fighter. So just stay out of his range. Punch, move, punch, stick, move, get in there, get out, and call it a day. And like I said, he needs to circle to the left of Zombie's power right hand because that right hand is devastating. The next thing is this: he's been out the game for 2 years. He had that MCL injury. Um, he had this fight has been booked 2 or 3 times and it got canceled. So I know he had some kind of MCL injury or something happened, and I don't remember. But like I said, I think ring rust is a real thing. It's just like me when I don't go hiking for months, because I've been times where I don't go hiking. If the first day back, man, I am dying. Like I'm like, where is a gallon of water? I need it now. I'm about to die. So it's just the same thing as ring rust. If you haven't fought in 2 years, man, that stamina you used to have built up from fighting all the time is not the same. And I know they say practice makes perfect, but I don't. I mean, I haven't really had a MMA fight, of course, but sparring and training, I don't think it's the same as real fight activity. It's the same thing as like maybe, like I said, maybe running isn't the same type of cardio as hiking cardio. It's completely different. So that's just my take on that. Ring rust, and the Korean being the more active fighter. So next thing is this. Let's go jump over to Korean Zombie. Talk about some of his positives and negatives and things like that. So Korean Zombie basically is what he is. He's a zombie. He'll walk you down. He won't stop, and he'll eat a punch and throw a punch. If you watch some of his fights, man, he is like just like he's ready for war. Basically, he's been in war. He actually took a leave of service or leave of absence from the UFC to go serve his country in the military. So big ups on him for that. One of his fights I watched was him versus Mark Homick. He basically walked in, planted his right foot, planted his left foot, and landed the right hand in an orthodox stance, and just literally cold clocked him, knocked his chin off his face pretty much, and just fight was over in 7 seconds. It was impressive, man. Dude has serious KO power. It's not anything to play with. So Brian is gonna have, like I said, circle left of that. Use his long legs, kick, try to soften up Zombie, man, if he wants to, if he wants to win this fight. That's just an early tidbit. But like I said, the next thing about Zombie is he's got impressive submissions as well. Early in his UFC career, he submitted Dustin Poirier with the Darce choke, so he's nobody to sleep on the ground. And in the fight, man, in that fight, he put Poirier to sleep. So I went back and watched one of his most notable losses. I would say his most notable loss is his loss against or Zaire, uh, where he lost last second to that up elbow. That was crazy because he was winning that entire fight. He was just outpointing him, out striking him that entire fight. But Zaire landed that crazy back spinning elbow and just ended his night. But for the most part, he was winning that fight. So I'm not going to say that's his most. I want to say that I would say that was his most upsetting loss, but his most notable loss was him versus Aldo in the championship. And I say this because in the Aldo fight, he looked like he was a slower fighter. Aldo was just quicker. He had better head movement. He had better footwork. He was just, like I said, circling Zombie's right hand. He was going left. He was jabbing really quick in and out. He was landing hooks left and right. Um, he was clinching with him. He was getting him off his game. So, like I said in previous videos, if you take a striker off his feet, they're useless. So if you either clinch with them or take them off their feet, these dudes are basically all of those their weapons are nullified. So that's one thing I noticed in the Aldo fight. And he was also catching Zombie with great counterattacks, like I said, with hooks and jabs. And Zombie also keeps his hands low sometimes in this fight. I guess he gets a little confident. And I noticed that Aldo was definitely landing a lot of jabs, like making him pay for that. So on to the next point, keys to victory. I think for Ortega, number one, for him to win, if he wants to win, is to keep it simple. Get the fight to where he's comfortable, and that's on the mat. He can set up all type of submission attempts like triangles, darces, guillotines, rear naked chokes. He is Comoros. He is just the man on the ground. He's black belt, like I said. I would not want to be on the ground with him. Uh, for Zombie to get hit on the ground, like I said in my notes, I said he needs to soften him up with leg kicks, feint some jabs to set up takedowns, and once he gets on the ground, like I said, um, set up those rear naked chokes and guillotines. Expose that low-handed guarded Zombies, like I said previously, and land those sneaky uppercuts that he's good at landing, like he did against Frankie Edgar. And like I said, circle away from Zombie's power right hand. Just go left and just ring around the rosy until it's a decision. If you want 5 rounds, just stick and move. You know, tap him up. Now for Zombie, keys to victory, I would say just do what he does best. Walk him down, and expose his striking defense, which doesn't seem like it's the best at the top notch of the division. Because against Holloway, his striking defense did not look good. His head movement didn't look great. Uh, Holloway, like I said, was landing jabs left and right and hooks left and right. It was a lot of the times. I just watched the fight literally minutes ago. It was like Ortega didn't see any of those hooks coming. Like uh, Holloway's speed was just like un. It was just a different level of striking between the two. Like his speed was just so much. He was just so much faster. So basically, Ortega's just gonna have to work on his head movement. So Ortega, like I said, and Ortega's hittable. Like I said in the Holloway fight, he has a good chin. He didn't get knocked out in that fight, but he definitely was hittable. So Zombie just needs to keep his stance wide if he's presented with a takedown, so he can stuff the takedown and just keep the fight standing. He needs to keep the fight at range, as he's actually the longer fighter, and he has a slight reach advantage. So he just needs to basically leg kick, jab to set up everything. Just the jab is the number one thing in striking. It sets up everything. It sets up the hooks. It sets up the uppercuts. It sets up the takedowns. It sets up pretty much everything. So just like I said, leg kick, jab, um, basically in stick and move, circle, stick and move. Throw combinations to soften him up. He's pretty good at. He's Ortega. Zombie's a good combination thrower, um, and just set up that right hand eventually to end the fight. So next thing is this prediction. Who do I have? So First of all, who do you have? Let me know in the comments, man, who y'all got. This one I went back and forth with. Both guys are top notch, man. They're probably top three featherweights in the division, man. But I'm gonna take Zombie because he's not coming off an injury. He's the more active fighter. Um, if I had to pick a better striker, I would probably go with Zombie. Like Ortega's a really good fighter, and he's good at dirty boxing and fighting in the clinch. But I think pure overall like power and setting up his punches and slipping and moving and staying out of the way of the center line punches. Zombie's getting better at that. Like since his Aldo fight, I think he's gotten better at staying off the center line of jabs. He's got it. He's good at moving and slipping his head. So I would give the edge to him on the feet. Now, Ortega's no slouch anywhere, but on the feet, I would probably give Zombie the edge. So Zombie just needs to pepper him with power. Like I said, same thing for him. The jab, set up the jab, to set up the right hand. And I think, like I said in previous um, comments, I think Zombie's been working on his takedown defense. I think he's been working on his submission defense as well for this fight. So I think that if he just stays on his feet, keeps his stance wide, if he gets taken down, keep his head movement good, uh, keep his speed well, Holloway was against him, like Holloway was against Ortega. Just stick and move faster, jab faster than he is. I think it's gonna be a short night for Ortega. I'm gonna predict second round knockout for Zombie. Just because it's been a while since Ortega's fought. I think he'll be fine if he loses. He'll be back. He'll be still at the top five. He'll get some more wins and he'll work his way back up the top. But I'm just gonna go with Zombie because he's a more active fighter and he's just been more, he's just got the. I think he's got the better striking. And if he can keep this fight on the feet, I think it's a short night. So like, subscribe. Let me know if you what other videos y'all want to see. If y'all want to see other breakdowns, any other I've been thinking about doing maybe a Conor McGregor Diaz breakdown. If y'all want to see that, let me know. But I'll do a post fight video on this sometime either early next week, maybe this weekend if I have time. So yeah, that's it, man. I'll see y'all later. Thanks a lot.